Hello, this is Heather with Creativity by Heather BE. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really fun card that I use the masking technique, and these are using new products from Mama Elephant's latest release. There are several Zodiac animal releases that they've had, and in this current one, they've released a Zodiac Rooster, which I'm going to be using here today, and also a monkey one, which they're adorable as well. And I am going to be using all four of these little cuties. I'm actually going to do some masking and stack them on top of each other. I'm also going to be using a new set, or an old set from Mama Elephant, and this is a celebration balloon set. I'm going to be using the hooray for the top little rooster to be holding his balloons. And what I love about this set is that all of the letters are connected, so it's one full stamp set, which is really easy. You don't have to worry about lining anything up. I'm also going to be making a Slimline card today using the Mama Elephant Slim Card Basics. And this comes with your regular stitched die, a scallop die. It comes with word conversation bubbles. It comes with some oval bubbles. It comes with a cloud die, a hillside die. There's so much in this die set. For my grass, I'm going to be using the Fawn Grassy stencil and the Mft Cloud extras for my clouds in the sky. For the masking, I went ahead and stamped off each of the four roosters, and I did that on full sticky back Post-its. I have several different brands of masking paper, and I find that I reach for these the most. They're inexpensive, they're easy to cut multiples. So I did that ahead of time, got those masks cut and ready, and I'll save those in my stamp set to use at a later date if I need them. For my stamping, I'm going to be using the My Favorite Things Extreme Black ink because I am going to be doing some Copic coloring. For the little guy on the bottom, there is one, and he's got both of his legs out to the side, and I thought that would be such a fun one to stick on the bottom because he kind of looks like he's just fallen from the weight of all the others on top of him. I just thought he would be really cute stuck there at the bottom. So I'm just using an acrylic block. You could use a Misty if you wanted to, or any type of stamping tool, but when I'm doing masking like this, I find it's easier to just use an acrylic block. For the mask on this one, I actually made two. The one I'm going to use first is a mask just of the little thing on top of his head. And I'm doing that because the next rooster that's going on top of him, which just kind of looks like he's about to tip over, I want to make sure that his left foot is actually stamped on the line of my first little rooster because I don't want it to look like he's floating in air. So to do that, I wanted to make sure the mask wasn't covering up my line and I would be able to see where it is. I will remove that partial mask and put a full mask over him because I am going to be doing the background. So all of these little roosters will get a full mask. So I'm going to ink up that second one, and he's so cute. He looks like he's about to tip over. And I wanted kind of to place these and where they were based on kind of the weight that would be on top of them. I thought it would be cute. So that's why he's on the bottom. Just the first one's just given up. His legs have come out, and the second one's really trying to balance it all. And I'm just very carefully stamping that out, making sure I can see. And there you can see that he's not floating in there. He is touching the one down below him. So I will use a Tim Holtz craft pick and just pop that mask up off of there and then add on my full mask. And I definitely want to make sure he is masked up because he's going to get the grass on the bottom of him and then also the clouds on the top. And if your masks aren't 100% perfectly straight on there, it's okay in this instant because I knew I was going to be using some darker colors, and the cloud, I kind of had that background so I could go in with a blue Copic and fix any lines. I'm masking this little guy up completely because I don't need to worry about really the lines so much on him. The next little guy, he's just kind of standing there like he's not really sure what's going on. I've been watching a lot of Golden Girls while we've been quarantined, and I call him my little rose rooster. He's just kind of off in his own little world. And I did want to, because his feet are together, I knew I needed to stamp one of his feet, what would be behind the rooster's little tuft that's below him on top of his head, but I wanted to make sure some of his foot was sticking out so it still appeared that he had a foot. I didn't want it to get completely lost. So I just moved that over slightly just so you can see the little tip of his foot so you can tell there's one there. And I'm going to mask him up. And then instead of creating a separate mask for him, because I'm going to have the same situation I did with our second rooster, I'm just going to gently, with my craft pick, pull that up and just kind of rip the mask a little bit, just so I can see that line. Because I want to make sure that our rooster that's going to be holding the balloons is touching that line as well. Now for him, if it appeared that if I didn't get it directly on the line, it wouldn't have been such a big deal because he's holding the balloons and he could almost look like he's floating away, but I wanted to make sure I had him touching. So there you can see all four of them are masked up. So I am going to start with the grass, and I actually messed up on the grass, and I'll tell you how I fix that in a moment. But I am using Twisted Citron Distress Oxide ink, and I'm also using Mowed Lawn. And what I did is I put the stencil down. You can see the ink on the top of it, and I did it basically upside down is how I inked it. So it left this kind of like green ring above the grass, and then I had some white spaces. So what I'm going to do is when I do my Copic coloring, I'm going to take a couple shades of green Copic markers and go in and just kind of fix that. And actually I liked it better adding the Copic on top of it. It just kind of gave it a little bit more dimension. I'm using the Mft Cloud stencil here, and they have several in their line, and this is the smaller one. I like this one a lot better if I'm doing full panel clouds like this. I'm only going to show you 2 lines. I did create a full panel cloud card and a 5 cards 1 kit that I'll link below if you're interested in seeing. I will give you some tips on how to get the most out of these cloud stencils, flipping them over, things like that. So I'll link that down below if you're interested. So now that I have all of my background done, I am going to remove my mask and start with my Copic coloring. And I am going to color on camera the very bottom rooster, and the other 3 I did exactly the same, so I did those actually off camera. So I'm just taking my little pick and removing my mask, and I love when you have a background like this and you remove those masks and you can see just that clean white underneath of it just waiting to be colored. It's almost like foiling when you foil something and you pull that foil back, just seeing what it looks like. And there you can see all of my little roosters. They're all lined up, they're all touching. When I do the roosters, I like to start with any Copic coloring. I like to start with my lightest color first, which in this case is Y11. I am still a learning Copic colorer. I love to do it. I'm honestly not that great at it. So this is just how it worked best for me to be able to go in and color these. And they might not look great or perfect, but I thought they came out cute. And the recipient is not going to look at the coloring and think that something is not want the card because of the coloring. So if you're not a perfect Copic color or alcohol marker, it's okay. Just keep trying and practice. It's a lot of fun, and you might be surprised at the results that come out. So for my colors I'm using here is I start down with Y11, and then I went in with Y15 and Y13. And roosters kind of have that gold color, so I wanted to go in and add some orange. So I'm adding YR07 to each rooster. I also Y38 to each rooster. I did use the YR07 for the little feet and the beaks. So once I get that Y38 laid down, then I just kind of go backwards with my Y15, Y13, and Y11 until I get a shading that I like. And I'm just going back and forth. And I will do every rooster this exact same way. For the little tufts on the top of their head, and I am not a farm girl, so I don't know what those are called. If you know what those are called, can you leave in the comments below, because I have no idea. I am using the R24 first, and then I'm going back in with R29 and just doing a little bit of shading on the bottom. And there you can see our little rooster. And like I said, I will go in and do the other 3 exactly the same. I've also stamped out the hooray. Now I did use a stamp positioning tool. I used my Misty for that because I did not want to mess up at this point after doing all that Copic coloring and ink blending. I originally wanted to do the balloons in all red, and then I decided to do rainbow colors, and I just did traditional kind of primary color rainbow colors. So I am using R29, I believe, for the H, and then I'm going in with YR07, Y13, YG17, B24, and V17 for the violet at the end. I am also going to take a white gel pen and go over and just add the little highlights on the balloons. And the stamp set actually already has them there, so if you struggle with the placement of highlights, the stamp company has done the hard work for you. So I just went right over where those were. And I will also add a little bit of the Nuvo Glaze, which is almost like a shiny, or it is a shiny, it goes on kind of cloudy and then dries clear to give those balloons some shine. I will also add the little highlights onto their little tufts on their heads, and I will take a Nuvo Shimmer pen and just kind of randomly go through their little bellies of each of the roosters just to give them a little bit of shine. So I'm going in with my green, which is my YG17, and I'm not doing any type of shading. I'm doing one color on these balloons. The only shading I'm doing is with that marker. So one of the nice things about alcohol markers is if you go back over in a different place, they layer and blend together, so it'll kind of give a little bit of a darker area there if you use the same marker. So that's the only type of shading that I'm doing on these balloons. So once I get my Y done, I'm going to go in with a pencil and just draw out very lightly where I want my balloon strings. Honestly, at this point, with this much done in the card, I was just kind of paranoid of messing it up. So I'm doing every precaution I can to make sure that I do it okay. And I wanted some of the strings to kind of cross over each other, and so that's why I decided to do it with a pencil. And now I'm going back in with a mono pen, black mono pen. This is a 0.3. And I really like this black pen. One of the things I will tell you though is when you're using it, make sure you're using it straight up and down to get the best line and the most crisp line. I will try to link this below if I can find it. I think Amazon has them. I am pretty sure I got this in a Simon Says Stamp monthly kit sometime last year, but I really like it. It does great for outlining and also things like this, adding balloon strings. So I'm going to go in and just erase my lines and take my gel pen and add my little highlights to their little tufts. And then this card is pretty much done. I am going to use some foam tape, 3M foam tape, to give it some dimension and put it on my scalloped border. If you've not tried a Slimline card, I encourage you to. There are several companies that have now come out with Slimline dies. I really think this Mama Elephant one is a great one for the price and what you get. It's $28 and you get so many dies in here, which is really nice. It gives you so much room. I had so much more of a palette to kind of work with. I could never have stacked this many roosters with the balloons on just a regular A2 size card. So it really opens up your creativity. I will put this on a Nina Solar White card base, and I am using Simon Hurley Create Stark White cardstock. I forgot to mention that. And that's our final card. As always, I will have all of the products listed down below. If you're not already a subscriber, I hope that you'll consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit that little bell for notifications of future videos. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you know what that little thing on top of those roosters' head is called, please comment down below just so I'll know. Thank you so much. I hope you and your families are all staying safe and you're doing something crafty. Have a great day.